Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. My first season. Ooh, very, very special guest today. I worked with this young man in Paradise Island during the 2002-2003 season. We worked on the beach together. He was alongside myself, Big, and Kim. There were four of us on the beach that winter season. Also, we're going to talk about, he used to play this song during our long winters on that beach. It was a song by Coldplay. And when I touched base with him recently, he couldn't remember the song. That irritated the heck out of me. But we're going to talk about that song and now why actually I love that song by Coldplay. His first season was in Rio Das Pedras in February of 1998 as an Excursion G.O. Without further ado, please everyone help me welcome Philip. How are you, sir? Oi,
hey,
to the
Greg.
bang, to the bang, to the bone.
To the bang.
Okay, so I'm assuming if your first season was in Rio Das Pedras, you are in fact Brazilian, true or false?
Yes, Brazilian from São Paulo.
From Sao Paulo. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I find it interesting. You told me your first season was Excursion G.O. because I know you as a very good sailor, windsurfer. So before we get into that, did you learn sailing when you were younger, or did you learn it in Club Med?
Yes, right. I had my an uncle of mine who owned a 45-foot yacht in Angra, which is near Mangaratiba, where the Club Med is located. And that was my first experience in sailing. I fell in love for it. But for a long time, before I got back into sailing, I was pretty much into surfing. So I used to surf a lot more than sail until I came to Club Med. That reconnected me to sailing.
Okay. And I assume you found out about Club Med because at the time there was two in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. There was a Taparica and Rio Das Pedras. Did you live close to Rio Das Pedras at all?
Yeah, at the time I was living in Rio de Janeiro. I was going to college in Rio, and I actually didn't know much about Club Med. I knew from it because my sister, she had been living in France for a while, and my brother-in-law, he had connections in Paris and the office in Paris. And so I was working in Rio in a travel agency, a receptive travel agency, working out travel for foreigners coming to Rio. They told me, "Oh, there's this job if you want. You can join Club Med, and you can get interviewed for the job." I found out that the office, Club Med office in Rio, was right next door to where I lived. The funny thing was that my interview was with Yannick Daudet, who was the South America president of Club Med. So I pretty much got straight into the job.
Your interview was with the South American president of Club Med. Was that normal at the time?
I guess not, but that's who interviewed me. I
Wow.
went straight into his office. He asked me about what languages I spoke at the time, and we talked in French. So I guess there was. I told him that I was working in the tourism industry, so that was, I guess, enough for him to propose the job at excursions in Rio Das Pedras.
Now, wait a minute. Where did you learn French?
In France. I lived there with my sister. She had been living in France for a while. And so I moved there. I went to a course in Paris for 6 months or so. And since then, obviously, I improved it by reading a lot and speaking French with my family, my brother-in-law and my nephews.
I see the connection for excursion. Okay, but when you had your interview, were you able to choose from excursion or sailing, or did you want to do excursion, or did you just take the first thing they offered you?
Yeah, I pretty much took the first thing they offered, and it was kind of in line with what I was doing. So that seemed right to me, and it was great to get out of the big city, and go to a little to the village, which is. Maybe 80 miles from Rio, in a pretty nice and peaceful by the sea resort.
Now, did this president who interviewed you, did he tell you about the hours you would have to work?
Yeah, he explained the deal.
Okay.
And I was young, I was willing, so that was pretty interesting to me.
Okay. Can you, for those that have never seen the the village or pictures of it, can you describe the village of Rio Das Pedras, like where it's situated?
Yes, it's situated about 80 kilometers from Rio, down south toward the south. So when you head that way, you have the Serra do Mar, which is the mountain chain, which is really by the sea. And so the resort is between the ocean and the mountains. And the resort itself, it has how's it called? It has a natural reserve, up the mountain where there is a beautiful forest, natural rainforest, and a creek that comes down the forest. This was one of the excursions I would do with the guests at the time in Rio Das Pedras. And it's a beautiful scenery. The river, at one point, there's a pool where people can swim, and they can swim against the current of the creek. It's really beautiful.
Do you recall when you arrived your first week? Do you still remember it now? Were you shell shocked? Were you excited?
Oh,
nervous?
Yeah. It was funny because I decided to head home. I had to head there on my bicycle. So I let the van that was going to Club Med take my stuff, and I cycled there. I cycled from Rio to Rio Das Pedras. It was a whole day thing. At the time, I think the road wasn't as dangerous as it is today. Now there's a lot more people living alongside the road, and I don't think that would be a good idea today to do that adventure. But at the time, that's what I did, and it took me like 6 hours. I woke up early.
Instead of taking the bus, you rode your bike to the village?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I loved riding my bicycle. So I said, well, I'm not going to leave my bicycle in Rio. And so I rode my bicycle. I let the van take all my bags and the rest of my stuff. And it was great to have my bicycle there because I could even go up the natural reserve with the bicycle and do some downhill bicycle in the natural reserve, in the tracks that are there.
You're probably the only G.O. in the history of Club Med ever to do this, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, man. The G.O.s, they can surprise you. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of them did something similar.
Now, so you're getting set up at excursions. Do you recall how many excursions that village had to offer?
Oh yeah, it was. There were some nice excursions, mainly to Rio, to the city of Rio. So I would come back to Rio for a day. This particular excursion, we would take them to the GMs. We would take them to the Corcovado mountain with the Christ, to the Sugarloaf, riding the cable car, to a short stop on the beach. We'd have a barbecue lunch. It was a pretty nice day in Rio.
How long did it take, like for the bus trips?
The bus trip would be like an hour.
Oh, really? Okay. So it
an hour each way.
Took you 6 hours to ride your bike, but it's only an hour by bus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not that fast bike rider, right?
Now, were the majority of guests there, of GMs, Brazilian?
Many of them were, but most of those that did the excursions were foreigners. Sometimes we would take Brazilians also along in the day to Rio. There was also another excursion. Getting back to the excursions we did, there was one to the Angra Islands, which would be we would take a schooner that would go to the islands of Angra dos Reis, which is the nearby city, right? There was a trip to Paraty, which is the old colonial city further down south of the Club Med. That would take us a 3-hour ride south to Paraty. And it's a pretty untouched colonial architecture and stone streets, like a pirate village. And guests will love it.
I'm imagining, since you're Brazilian and you spent time in France, that you probably didn't have any culture shock when you arrived. There was nothing really that surprised you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no. I mean, the shock was like the life in the village, right? The GOs and how we became like a community in our own, right? So that was pretty different.
What was the designation of that village? Was it couples, family, singles? What was it back then?
Family.
Family.
Family,
Okay.
yeah.
Family. Mm-hmm. So you had mini club and all that.
Yeah, mini club. Right.
During that first season, as you're being an Excursion G.O, were you looking around at what the other G.Os were doing? And did you ever want to change your job that season?
I didn't think about that. I was pretty into my job, and I liked the fact that I was able to not spend every day in the village. I like the fact to be able to go out, to come back to Rio. Sometimes if I needed to be with my parents, I could shortly, when I left the guests at the shopping mall, there was a stop in the shopping mall in Rio. I could stop by my house and say hello to my parents. So no, I didn't think about changing my job back then, but I did spend a lot of time at the beach with the sailing team there and the water skiing. When in my day off, usually when I could, I would do that.
So day off then might have been 99 then, because I think the day off started in 90, like that winter season. So 98, 99, I believe. So when I got to Martinique.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. When I got to Martinique, well, yeah. Well, actually, no, you're probably right. No. Yeah, it was 98, 99. So I was in Martinique. So for October, and I think the days off started happening, during the winter 98, 99 season. So if you had a day off.
When I started.
Yeah, yes. You got lucky, sir. And if you started in February, you just missed the big Christmas and New Year's rush. So even better.
Right. Yeah.
How did your body get used to working? Like when you started, your first 2 weeks, was it rough working every day? Like, 12, 16 hours a day?
No, it was pretty natural. I mean, I think as every G.O, the life in the village is something that is natural, right?
After a while, not at first. At first, when you do 7 days a week, everyone's like, yeah, it won't be a problem. And then you get to the reality, especially if you like to party, then
yeah, but there it is. I'm not very much of a party guy,
Yeah.
So eventually, because of my job, I would be I wouldn't have to stay late at night. I could leave the party a little earlier because I would have to get up early the next day for the excursions. And I was never very much outgoing person, so that fit to my job description too.
Well, speaking of you not being an extrovert, outgoing person, did the choreographer approach you to do the shows, or did you approach the choreographer?
Yeah, I tried to avoid that.
Yeah.
But they found me. They found me in the corner there,
Yeah.
And but there was one show that I like to do, which was the lights and how did we call that one? The fire ring and pool.
Oh, you mean like when all the flaming torches and everything around?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, like a fire and water show. Yes. Okay.
Fire and water show. That show I like doing.
Because it was outside.
But definitely the choreography, I wasn't very much into it. But my first chef de village, Yves Mongi, he had a pretty easy choreography, which you could follow easily. So I didn't have a problem with that. Later on, if you recall, in Paradise Island, I couldn't very well follow the moves. So Angie Boucher, our chef de village, Angie Boucher, she assigned me to the role as a penguin in the show, right? Because the penguins didn't have to dance well.
That's right.
Or I would be up there on the spotlight.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, you're right. See, well, I used to pretend to Gabby I didn't know how to dance, but I could never pull it off like you did. She never believed me, so I still got stuck in the shows. Thanks, Gabby.
Yeah, but talking about the light and water show, one occasion was pretty funny because Yves Mongi decided to follow on with the show, even though it was a night that was shaping up to be full of thunderstorms. And in fact, in the middle of the show, it poured rain and there was lightning everywhere. And even though it was that way, we did the show all the way to the end, right? And I remember me and a colleague, Sylvia Zimmerman, who was from the office, the reception, right? And and we decided to write a manifesto, like for the rights of GOs and how come we are put into this situation. And of course, we didn't deliver it to Yves Mongi because he was such a nice guy, and we basically just forgot about it. It was funny.
I'm sure the guests were probably thinking you guys probably called in that thunderstorm to go along with the show, right?
Yeah, the guests were probably thinking that. It was a great show anyway.
Yeah.
But the guests were all inside, right, in the covers, and we were outside.
Getting your torches
wet anyway,
snuffed out. Yeah. You already knew how to sail. You mentioned water ski. Was there any sport that you got to try on your day off that you never got to do before? Did you learn anything new there, sports wise?
Yeah, water skiing, wakeboard actually. Right, I started in Club Med. I never did it before, and another thing that I didn't do very often, but I used to dive before, but in Paradise Island, it was what we did in our days of jour de congé, in our day off.
Yep,
it was great to be able to go out and dive in those awesome spots.
Did Rio Das Pedras offer diving as an excursion?
No. The water there wasn't as clear, so it wasn't really a thing that was offered. I think there were people that would go there and would look for people who would take them diving, but it wasn't a thing that the club would offer.
And so your season's going along, everything's fine. Now, how did you deal with eating meals with guests 3 times a day? Was that okay at first, or it got better?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, the guests were pretty nice. Most of them are there to enjoy their time, so I never had a problem with that. And it's a pretty civilized environment. So we're eating along with our guests, and they're interested in what we do in the club and all that. Things that repeat themselves every week, right? Pretty much the same explanations every week, and for the new guests.
About how long did you spend in Rio Das Pedras your first season? How many months roughly?
Roughly, I would say 10 months, 8 to 10 months.
Okay. Did you have to do a Bastille Day preparations? And did you know what Bastille Day was? Was there a lot of French in the village
14th
in July?
14 Juillet.
Yes, monsieur.
No, I don't remember doing Bastille Day.
Okay.
Did they do it? Maybe they did.
Well, I don't know. I don't know in Brazil.
Recall.
I don't know if in Brazil they did, but I didn't know what was going on when I started my first season. So depending, I guess, yes, how many French you had in your village. If you only had 5, then I'm sure they probably weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do it in Australia. When I was in Australia, we didn't have to do it because there were hardly ever any French in Australia.
But if you're in Martinique or somewhere like that, then you'd have to do it.
Oh God, yeah. Were you? How can I put this? That first season, were there any GOs or managers or chef service that gave you that made a good impression on you that you liked?
I think all the chef de service they were. You could see why they were chef de service, right? But the one that I was closer to was the excursion manager, Bruno. He was a pretty nice guy. Worked to make our life easier.
Was he from France?
Yes.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Quick side question before I forget to ask you this: did you ever, or do you ever today still have a recurring dream that you're back at Club Med, like working? At Club Med?
Wow! Often. Okay. I often do that.
Yeah. me too.
Yeah.
And it won't
I
stop.
guess everybody, huh?
Yeah, it just doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away. That's amazing. Huh? Yeah, and situations like, how would I get to my job? What I'm doing here, and I need to get somewhere for my task now. And
yeah, that's right.
It's funny.
Or if you hear a song, well, we'll get into the song thing after when we get to Paradise. But all right, near the end of your season, did you have to fill out a dream sheet? Did they ask you where you wanted to go your second season, or you just went
Did
back
I?
home? Did you go back home, or they just said, you know what, you're going here?
No, at the end of the season, there was a job opening as a manager, an excursions manager in Itaparica. So I followed that opportunity naturally.
Oh, really? So you went
Yeah,
first season Excursion G.O, and then your second season was as the manager?
yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. But in Itaparica, the manager is pretty much the Excursion G.O, right? There are no
Well,
Excursion G.Os
depending there.
working for you.
Well, depending on the village. Like I know some villages, there's big teams, right? In excursions. Like I can't recall which ones, but I know there were big teams. But yes, some resorts where you're the manager and you do everything, right? You're in charge of yourself. But yeah, I do know there were some villages that had massive.
Yeah, in Itaparica, we'd pretty much hire local companies, transportation companies, and local guide for the day trip to Salvador. So, but there were also some pretty nice excursions in Itaparica.
Okay, so you finished at Itaparica. So when I met you in Paradise, was that your first season as sailing, or you did another one before that? Before Paradise, after Itaparica?
It was first season of sailing. I actually took some time off from Club Med after Itaparica.
Okay.
I went traveling and ended up back in Rio working in a 5-star hotel in Angra, and near Club Med. They were opening this new hotel there. I helped with the opening.
Where was the hotel?
In Angra dos Reis, which is 20 miles from Itaparica.
Okay.
From Rio Das Pedras.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did a couple of jobs in between. One of them was a surf photographer for a website. The websites were starting at that time. And
Really?
this was the year 2000.
Now, were you the guy in the water avoiding the boards and the waves, or were you doing this from shore?
From shore, showing the surf conditions. And I remember we still wouldn't have this technology we have today. The camera I got was fed with a soft disk. So I'd have to take the soft disk, take the pictures, and then pass them into a computer, with which I would send it off to the website, upload into the website.
Oh, wow. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, old technology.
You must have got a lot of wipeout photos too, I imagine.
Yeah, also, yeah.
All right. So how long a break? So if I met you near the end of 2002, are you saying you took a year or two break in between?
Yeah, a year or two. I remember being on this old hotel in Angra dos Reis during the September 11th. And at that time I said, at that time I was actually trying to leave the job. And I said, no, hold on. Let me keep this job. I don't know what's going to happen. So I stayed a couple more months there. And, but finally, I moved again to Florianópolis, which is a city further down south of Brazil, and worked on another hotel, another opening there. And finally, when I decided that I wanted to do something else, I called Club Med office, asked about a job in sailing, because I had already got my sailing license in Brazil at that time when I was in Florianópolis. So I said, why not work and go back to work in Club Med in sailing? And that's how I got to Paradise Island.
Wow, you really don't need a license for that, eh? I never got one.
Yeah,
which shows why you. Yeah, I know. Yeah, like in France, you have the brevet. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I learned everything in Club Med. So, but this is why you were a better sailor than I was.
Yeah, but windsurfing I pretty much learned in Club Med as as I went.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
and,
it takes a lot. It takes you could learn to sail in 10 minutes, but to learn how to properly windsurf, like, feeding the straps and planing, that takes 3 months,
and plus adjusting the right fin to the right size of sail.
Yes, exactly.
That's a whole secret in its own.
Yeah, even the mast, where your boom goes in relation to your chest, oh yeah, there's so many things you have to adjust on a sail and board. Whereas sailing, you get on the boat and go, right? Wind at your back.
Yeah. And I was able, after Club Med, I was able to improve my technique in windsurfing in Florida. When I moved to Florida, I joined this sailing and windsurfing club in Central Florida, which was owned by a former G.O, Tio Dornelas. And he pretty much taught me all my higher skills in windsurfing, and it was a great experience.
So are you saying you could air jibe now?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he and his wife Susie, they were GOs in Itaparica way before I ever dreamed of being a GO. And so when I was living in Florida and I went around looking for a job and sailing, I met them and they took me right in.
How many times did you wipe out trying to air jibe? 100, 200?
Oh, I don't recall.
That's
many.
Yeah, everyone, that's one of the hardest moves to learn, and windsurfing. I wish I could describe it, but I gave up on it. Okay, I got tired of eating salt water. All right, so now I'm going to come to the point where, so it's me, you, Big, and Kim from California.
Great team.
Married to Renato, who was, I just interviewed him. So his interview will be on before you. And, it was winter. So as you know, in Club Med, if it's really too windy, none of the boats can go out. It's too dangerous. So that's when we would have our fun. And when it was the sailing shack was closed for sailing, you would play the song by Coldplay, and and it used to irk me because I hated the song. The song was Yellow. I'll start it off. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. Okay, that's the start of the song. Now, it irked me even more when we recently reconnected about this podcast, and you had absolute zero recollection of this song. Am I right?
I had zero recollection. That's right.
And I thought, how dare you forget what you put me through? But the happy ending to the story is, honest to God, I don't hear it often, but whenever I hear Yellow now, I only think of the time that me, you, Big, and Kim spent on the beach and all the fun times we had, when sailing was closed and making hot tea. So it is a positive thing now for me. Like I listen, when I hear that song, I listen to it fondly.
Yeah, so, great memories.
Yeah.
Great memories.
Because that's the thing, right? You associate usually one song with a resort, right? And for me, even though it's a song I didn't like.
And after when you told me about it, and I went to after you told me about it, and I went on to look for it and listen to it, I recall. Yes. Okay. Yes, we did. We did listen a lot to that song.
Well, yeah, only because you kept playing it. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if Big liked that song, but I know I was. It was kind of, for me, it was nails on a chalkboard type of thing. And I have nothing against Coldplay. I actually like Chris Martin. I think he's hilarious. He was on an episode of Modern Family making fun of himself, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool of him to do that, But I had a great time in Paradise with you guys. It was a very good season. Lots of talent there. Did you like that season?
I loved it. It was a great season, and the team was a lot of fun to work with.
No, you were even more chill than I was. I thought, wow, I met someone more low key than me. So yeah, I don't know where that would have come from, but you always seem.
Remember that episode, Greg? That episode of the.
No, let's not bring it up. Tell me after we stop recording. Tell me. You remind me after.
You know which one I'm talking about.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I don't. But hey, if you can forget the song Yellow, I could forget something it's funny. My memory, there's people that tell me something. Oh, Greg, remember we did this? And I have zero, but I can remember a backstage conversation from the year 2000 backstage at Columbus Isle. Yet someone says, oh no, Greg, you did this and this and that. And I just don't remember. So I guess I have selective memory. But
Selective memory.
but no, it's true. This is true story. I can remember a conversation I had, like, and what was said exactly, but you tell me I did something major and I'm like, huh? I don't remember. But it could have been the Calic beer I was drinking then.
But it was not much about you. It was more about the weather.
Oh no.
I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna say it.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. No. Only positive stuff. But
it is positive.
It is? Okay.
I guess it's not negative.
If you think it's positive,
the weather can't be something negative, right? The weather is just the weather.
Well, no, it can, because GMs pay a lot of money to come on vacation, and when it rains, they actually ask you, when is it going to stop raining? And my God, I'm sure you've been in resorts where the rain goes on 3 days or more, right? And every day you wake up, you're like, oh my God, it's raining again. Bar games, so
true.
For GMs, yes, it's negative. And well, maybe for us, if you're a land sports GO and you've spent 3 days at the main bar, yeah, it gets to you. So I would call it a bit negative. Yeah. I recall that resort more than anything.
But you're not French. You're GMs. Not curious. You're not curious about it.
No. Well, if you think it's positive, then you can go ahead.
It's curious. Remember when we had a sudden change of the weather, not actually the weather, but the ocean.
Yeah, it got
the
really,
waves started.
Yeah, exactly.
Started bouncing, and we had our boat moored there right in front of the beach shack.
Yes.
And we had such a hard time to take it out that we didn't take it out. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Okay.
That was the episode.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I remember someone's throwing their backpack on the beach, and then the wave came and took the backpack out to sea. Yeah. Okay. But you know what? In that village, I recall being asked, but I don't know why, more French people asked me what was the temperature of the ocean than any other resort I've been in, and got mad at me when I didn't know what the temperature. Like I carry a thermometer on me, And I started looking up like how to find out the temperature of the ocean every day. And I asked him, why are you asking me? He goes, because Greg, when we buy postcards and we send them home to our friends in France, we want to be able to tell them what the temperature of the ocean is because they're in the snow right now. And I said, oh, okay. That makes sense.
Sure. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. You want to stick it to your friends. Okay. I get it. That I can get on board with. Okay. Oh man, what I find interesting, you did your because I've heard that, and Renato was mentioning that's like when you're a Brazilian GO, sometimes it takes a very long time for you to leave that zone, right, and come to the North American zone. So I think you, even after a season in Rio das Pedras and Taparica, you call them back after 2-year absence, and they give you the Bahamas. So you must have been pretty excited, right?
Oh yeah, it was great. I was very happy.
You probably should have taken a break sooner, right?
Right.
That seemed to be the way to go. Like, okay, I'll take off 2 years here, and then boom, I'll get the Bahamas.
And it actually gave me the opportunity to, it basically changed my life, right? Because I met the mother of my son in the Bahamas, right? As a GM.
That's true. Okay. Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Yes, that's correct. And then Paradise was your last resort, and then you went to Florida, correct?
And then I went to Florida. That's right. Okay. That's right. And today I have my beautiful 14-year-old who lives in Florida, Kai. 14? And yeah.
Kai,
yeah.
I love that name. Kai?
You're right. Yeah.
Oh, I love that name. This is amazing. 14. Oh my goodness. I just aged. Okay. Because in my mind's eye, I still see you on the beach. Like no one's really aged, like I remember you how I remember you in Club Med. But when they say I have a 14-year-old, like it brings me back to reality.
And in our dreams of Club Med, we don't age either.
It's true. It's true. But just once I'd like to be there on vacation and not working in my dream. I can't even enjoy
that
it in my
happen,
dream.
Though we are always working in our dreams.
I'm hauling luggage. I'm doing fruit passages. Yes. I'm like, really? All right. Oh, not fair. Okay. So, all right. Now, of all the resorts you did, the 2 in Brazil and Paradise, I usually like to ask this question about the magical season. Now, did you find that your first season was the most magical, or do you just remember each village in a different way, and you like them all in your own way?
Yeah, I think I like them all in their own way. Each one had their own particularities and their nice things. Bahia was great. The ambience was great in Itaparica. Rio Das Pedras was a beautiful place. In Bahamas, we met so many different people, and the ocean was awesome.
Now, I have a question I like to ask because it's about dumb questions. Now, Club Med is famous for people asking dumb questions. Do you recall a favorite one that you were asked, or like when is it going to stop raining? When is the 8 o'clock a.m. aerobics? Do you or when you were in Excursion G.O, did you any kind of something funny happen? Like, do you have a favorite Club Med story? You don't tell that often.
Yeah, one Club Med story I don't tell. It was funny for those who saw it. I don't think you were in the Paradise Island yet when I started. Probably into the third or fourth week, but definitely into the first month of me working in Paradise Island. When I was pushing a hobby cat into the water, a wave came and I took the steering bar right into my mouth and broke my front tooth.
Oh no.
So yeah. But it was funny because I was just like Alfred Newman, smiling.
Okay.
And but I went the very same day I was taken to the dentist and they fixed it and got the smile back, because in Club Med you gotta have your smile.
That's right. That's true. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but I could see that happening with so it must have been really wavy that day, right?
Yeah, it caught me by surprise.
Now, did you have a favorite? Because you know how in Club Med, like I explained it to GMs after I got to know them. I said, your job when you get here is to kill yourself, and my job is to prevent you from killing yourself. So you know how in sailing, there's always an expert who claims he did the Whitbread and he's been sailing 20 years, and then you give him a boat and the first thing he does is capsize it under the dock. So did you have any trick questions for people who claimed they were expert, yet you felt they were not? Did you ever have any trick questions? Like me, I use the main three, but did you have a special technique to find out if they really knew how to sail?
I don't think I got anybody like that.
You didn't? Oh, you're lucky. Okay. I guess they all came to me then. Okay.
No, those that weren't experienced, I think they showed it right away. And
well, no, these people wanted to take the boat out by themselves, not with you. So I mean, when a windsurfer did this, I knew right away, because you tell them, okay, go pick up the board and walk into the water, and they would do it completely the wrong way. They wouldn't go in back first.
They wouldn't know how to carry it.
They'd go in front first with the 6-foot wave over there, and I'd say stop. Okay. So but in sailing,
but I think the more challenging was when the conditions were rough and people wanted to take the boats anyway. Yep. And I think you recall sometimes we'll have to get the boats out of the reef there outside.
Yeah, exactly. And then I remember one gentleman, he fell off his boat and he couldn't get back on, and that's like a big no-no. You have to be able, if you capsize, you have to be able not only to upright it but get back on, and he couldn't. And me and another person, I can't remember if it was you, we had to go help him onto the catamaran.
Yeah, wow. Whenever they capsized and they were completely upside down, eventually the mast could hit the bottom and stick there.
The turtle.
And then you wouldn't be able. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to uncapsize it.
Yeah, call that turtling. The turtle. That's pretty bad when it gets that to that state, when the mast is touching the bottom of the ocean floor.
Yeah, and it was just not as deep that it could happen, right?
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So our last question, if there's someone listening who is thinking about applying to Club Med, do you recommend they try it out for 6 months? What do you say?
Trying it out for 6 months?
Yeah. Say say someone's thinking about, should they apply? Like, will they have fun? Do you think it's a good experience?
Oh, definitely. I think it's a way to indulge in doing what you like. Many jobs in Club Med, you're going to be just doing that. It's just fun. It's just nice to have to work with people who are enjoying themselves, right?
Well, I always enjoyed.
And it's a great experience.
I always enjoyed working with you, and I have nothing but fond memories of that time with you in Paradise. So I really want to, I really do appreciate you taking the time to come on and share your story with us. I really, really thank you.
It was great working with you too, Greg, and great memories. I think I kept mostly just the nice stuff, you know, which is the majority of my experiences in Club Med.
Yeah.
And and the teams we meet so many great people, you know, that we keep in touch for life, like ourselves here, or like Renato, who you met, and we still keep in touch, or Big, and that's, I think that's the most important part of it. The connections we make in Club Med, they stay for life.
Could not have said that better myself, sir. I really want to thank you again. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was my friend Philippe from Brazil, and we'll see you all next week. Bye. Say bye, Philippe.
Bye. Ciao.